PK with us tonight is a futurist, and he's a consultant for organizations as well as high net worth individuals. And he has obliged us this moment for us to discuss globally, get perspective, get clarity, and also know how to properly position ourselves to take advantage of all of this, because there is always advantage in adversity if you can design it, if you can see. So, well, I'm going to start right on, if you don't mind, PK.
I'm ready.
It was in 1998 that Dr. Spencer Johnson wrote a book that remained an all-time bestseller for 5 years, New York Times bestseller for 5 years, titled "Who Moved My Cheese?" And the central of the is that that's the wrong question to be asking. The question to be asking is, where is the cheese now? The cheese is already moved anyway. I don't say who is already moved. Now.
Yes.
First of all, I want to ask a PK is the world on reset? And if the world is on reset, what is the landscape of this new world we're talking about?
Yes, thank you so much, man of God. It's an honor to be here again. I think part of the critical things that people need to also understand is that the world has always been managed by three different groups of people. The power centers, who pretty much determine human experiences, right? And there is a human element and a non-human element to that. Okay, unto good or unto evil. There are power centers that control human experiences. Then there are culture shapers who themselves are controlled by the power centers, but they are the ones that everybody sees. So the way I put it is that there are three people in the world. The people we see every time, which is the masses, everybody in the world, the 99%. Then the people we see only when they are displayed, only when they are shown, only when they are revealed. Those are the culture shapers. They are CEOs, politicians, businessmen, actors, movie stars, singers. Those guys are the ones who shape culture, and essentially they control the taste, the fashion, the acceptances, the thinking of the masses. Then there are those we do not see at all. They are the power centers who control the guys that we see when they are shown. And the guys we don't see at all are the guys who are not partisan. They are neither PDP or APC. They are neither Republican or Democrat. They are non-partisan, because power at the highest level is not partisan. Like we say in the West, in Yoruba, olórí ẹbí ò kì í ṣòṣèlú. So the head of a family cannot be partisan, because part of his people in his family are going to belong to different constituencies. Yes, so if he has to hold his role as a head of the family, he cannot belong to any. So these guys pretty much democratize their powers such that whether you choose A or B, you are choosing them. So they pretty much take a stake in your options. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you choose. They arrest your choices. They give you control over your choices, but they take a stake in the options. And that is how power expresses itself. So whether you choose APC or PDP, or you choose Republican or Democrat, you are choosing them. Whether you choose Facebook or you choose Instagram, you are choosing Mark Zuckerberg. Whether you choose Toyota or you choose Lexus, you are still choosing the same person. Whether you choose Peak Milk or you choose 3 Crown, you are still choosing the same person. Whether you choose DSTV or GoTV, you are choosing the same organization. The idea is to pitch a stake in your options so that whichever direction you go, you are choosing them. Now, where that comes to this conversation is that those guys, don't forget, they shape culture and they are always ahead. God is faithful, because what has happened to the world is that some people have gained incredible advantage in the last 10 years of the human world. They've gone ahead. And even though God did not create COVID, COVID is also slowing down the system so that a lot of people that were out of the loop can catch up, because a lot has already gone technological wise, with nanotechnology, with electronics, so much is already happening in the world. And a critical constituency, even the church, have been left behind. Hello? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Great. So a critical part of the world, including the church, have been left behind, in a new world that is essentially borderless. So, therefore, you find that we have outgrown satisfaction now. The new war is going to be around preferences. I say to business people anywhere, customer satisfaction has run its course. What we are going to begin to manage is customer preferences and customer advocacy. I'm going to get there, but I just want to quickly explain what a post-COVID world looks like, pretty much. So what has happened is we have been forced into a dimension of life that is pretty much borderless. Two words are going to describe a post-COVID world for us. The first one is borderlessness. Borderlessness. And about 2 years ago, I did my annual endeavor called Next 365. And I invested 4 hours of audio work explaining borderlessness. And I said to people, 3 years ago actually, I said to people that globalization has ended its movement. Globalization is an unfair trade. It is a system that favored countries that transcend the limits of visa, and countries who are still arrested by the power of visa are not stakeholders in a globalization, in a world running on globalization. So essentially, a lot of people, a lot of nations could not participate in that trade, right? Because the American or the Frenchman or the British can pick his ideas or his goods and services and go anywhere in the world at the speed of decision, at the speed of desire, at the speed of opportunity. He can respond to it. If an African sees that opportunity, he cannot respond at the speed of opportunity. He has to respond, he has to go and check his passport if he has the visa to move around. So there is a delayed. Hello, sir.
Actual constraints.
Exactly. So he's going to have to pause and see if he's qualified to be able to make that move. It can take him 3 weeks to be able to make that move. His counterpart in Paris has made that move at the speed of arrival of the opportunity. So we knew that such an idea cannot be from God because it favors a group and it doesn't favor some. It's a human invention that has to be at some point defeated. Okay? Borderlessness is the arrangement for underdogs to shine, to defeat the limits of the globalization, disrupt it, and take it to a new level. Borderlessness is going to get popular as we move into the next 5, 10, 15 years. We are going to begin to appreciate the word borderlessness. It's going to go popular. It is a world where the human life now has the capacity to control its own reality, attract purchasing power and followership from all over the world on one spot without altering its geography, without necessarily altering its geography. And the group I like to bring as the example of that is an evil group. Nobody should be proud of that. It's a shameful group. But they have used borderlessness to perpetuate their ideas at a level, and that is terror. ISIS, as a matter of fact. ISIS did not have business cards. They did not have, they were not doing PowerPoint presentations. They did not have a business development unit. They didn't have marketers. They didn't travel the world. They didn't open stores all over the world. They didn't open branches across the world. They were on one spot, and their masquerade was dancing on one spot. But they were forcing doctors, engineers, IT professionals, people with a life, were abandoning their lifestyle in first world countries and traveling to ISIS camp in Syria ISIS camp, in Iraq, and they were going there ready to die. They were terminating their existence, for an evil cause, and this organization moving them across the world is not leaving one spot. That is borderlessness at its crude best. It's an opportunity for other underdogs to have their highest expression, right, without the limits of geography. And technology is the instrument for making that happen. Technology is the instrument for making that happen. There is no way ideas can spread, right? Ideas, the rate at which ideas spread, the speed at which ideas spread, and the depth to which ideas are accepted cannot be done without the place of technology, right? One of the reasons why 5G is so critical for human use is sad, it's very sad that a lot of people, in their ignorance, were attacking 5G and attacking the whole world and saying all kinds of things. It's very sad. What is even more of a tragedy is that Christians who are supposed to know better and to understand the signs of the times were also, blinded by the weight of that conversation. We need 5G like yesterday. End time evangelism is impossible without 5G. There is no way we can manage the restlessness of Generation Z and Generation and millennials without the blessing of the speed and the interaction possibilities that exist in 5G. We must understand that consumption has changed in its quality. The people to deal with in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years, are Generation Z. Those guys are so restless. I tell people that gold is not the most important resource in the world today. The most important resource, the most powerful resource in the world is not crude oil, it's not gold, it's not even data, it's attention. Attention has become the most critical resource in the world today. And guess what? Part of that is that Generation Z is championing all of that drama. Generation Z is championing all of that drama. Sorry, I need to plug my... Sorry, my battery was going down. I needed to charge it. I'm good now. So Generation Z is going to be exuding a dimension of restlessness that we need to catch them at a level. And that is the necessity of 5G. And part of what has happened is the church, as a matter of fact, and when I say the church, I mean the leaders, teachers in the church, business people in the church, right? Technocrats in the church, not just the fivefold ministry. I mean, culture shapers in the church, our guys in acting, our guys in the music space, our guys in the political space need to begin to understand the incredible responsibility that is on them as far as culture shaping is concerned. We were out of the loop. We were completely out of the loop. And this particular experience that we are dealing with has given us a level playing field. I want to remind everybody, this is the decade of the underdogs. Sir, if we add just 20 years, just 30 years to any human life now, the person that is 5 will be 35. The person who is 10 will be 40. The person who is 20 will be 50. The 30-year-old will be 60. So let's come home, sir. So the 60-year-old will be 90. The 70-year-old will be 100. The 50-year-old will be 80, right? So whether we like it or not, the leadership of the world is already marked with a lifespan. In 30 years' time, everybody we know in politics all over the world will have been gone, or they will be at the departure lounge of life. Donald Trump will have been gone. Bill Clinton will have been gone. Joe Biden will have been gone. Buhari will have been gone. Tinubu will have been gone. Think about it. Everybody with Atiku, Obasanjo, they all have been gone, right? In our business space as well. Anybody that is above 60 now, or that is 60 or 70, will have been gone, or they will be at the departure lounge of life. The fathers of the next 30 years are the guys in their 40s today, are the guys in their early 50s today, and the emerging powers and fathers of the next 30 years are the guys in their 30s and in their 20s today, because they will be 60-something, they will be 50-something at that time. Part of what that means is that we should be ready. We should be ready. So if I'm going to answer the question of where we are now, I would say, one, we are in a season of borderlessness, strengthened by technology. We are going to speak less and less of underdeveloped, developing, or developed countries. We are going to speak more and more of smarter, and smartest countries. We are going to speak less and less of democracy. We are going to speak more and more of technocracy. Technocracy is going to be the new power. And part of that is degrees like MBA, degrees like like management degrees will still be important, but they will be secondary instruments. The primary instruments will be technological understanding, technological intelligence and awareness. So in a technocracy, it's a system that is driven by technology and managed by technologists. So a medical doctor will not just have a degree of medicine. He will also have some critical background knowledge in technology as a technologist for him to be able to run a hospital. Because whether we like it or not, the days we are in now, you can no longer just be a hospital. And I'll close this question on this. If you are a hospital, in pre-COVID, your job was to use technology to treat people. You are a hospital using technology to treat people. That is pre-COVID. In post-COVID, you are a technology organization that is treating people. As a church, in pre-COVID, churches use technology as backdoor. We use it as backdoor. Meanwhile, in post-COVID, technology is front door. It's not backdoor. The best way to explain that is Amazon. If we look at Amazon today, Amazon has stores offline. People need to know that Amazon has a lot of stores offline, a lot of warehouses offline, right? And they also have business online. But the online business of Amazon is front door, not back door. You don't enter Amazon from their offline activity. You enter Amazon from their online activity. Their offline activity is backdoor. It means that if I want to buy something from Amazon and I am in Gambia or in Lagos, Nigeria, or in Mombasa, Kenya, if Amazon sticks to its offline store, it will deny me the opportunity to reach them, because their online is what keeps them global and stretch them to the world. So we are limited in income and revenue. We are limited in reach, right? Because if we are not borderless and we don't operate online. So online has become the new line now. Online is no longer what we use to support what we do offline. Online is what we do. And what we do offline is supporting what we do online. So who we are is online. What supports it is offline. That is the post-COVID. And it doesn't matter what you do, whether you sell pins or you sell bread or you are a restaurant, whatever you do, or you are a hospital or you are a singer or a poet, whatever you do, online is your new line. In the future, we're going to speak less and less of offline university, online university. No, there's just going to be university and it will be online. Universities in the next 10 years, 20 years will be bungalows with servers. That's it. And this is the reality that we have to deal with. And this is the new world that we have come to, sir.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So economic recession is not the disappearance of funds from the economic system. It is integration as a result of redistribution.
Yes, sir.
Leave the earth, it only changes addresses.
Yes, sir.
Serious money right now, because of the opportunities in this whole pandemic. It's all about discovery.
Correct, sir.
and plugging into it. Now that seems very difficult for a lot of people, because to be able to plug into opportunities, it requires clear thinking, a mind
Yes, sir.
not in the gutters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that is
yes, sir.
And is able to see opportunities and leverage them. Can you mention? I just want to ask if you can mention in very practical terms the key sectors to pay attention to and the inroads into such sectors.
Yes, sir. Part of the reason why I love you, sir, is your insistence on having the most important conversations every time, and how you have not allowed religion to shift you from the culture, from the marketplace. I really celebrate you for that, and I will continue to do so. That is the strength of your work that you do, and I really, really celebrate it. I'm so glad you asked that question, because it's a critical question, sir. And I know it's not coming from a place of just thought. It's coming as a pastor sitting on the heads of so many entrepreneurs, and you know that people need to answer these questions, and a lot of businesses are going to ignore it. They just think that we are going to come into our world will just continue after COVID, after the lockdown. No, it's not just going to continue. So I'm going to mention some key things and some key areas that I think people should focus on. But Pastor mentioned recession now. Let me help, guys. Let me help you all make sense of that word recession. Every time you hear recession, don't let it move you. Recession is one sentence. The reduction in the flow of opportunity. That's it. So there's still money, there's still activity, but opportunity is what is pretty much arrested. So we are going to have few opportunities for a lot of people. That's recession in the most lay way to explain it. Few opportunities for a lot of people. So the game in that kind of world is, how do I plug into that opportunity? How do I remain in that opportunity? Now, let me say this to everyone real quick. Now, you see, before COVID, I'm going to mention some sectors and some industries, but let me give you this foundation. Before COVID, pre-COVID, we had the 1%, and then we had the 99%. Now, every time we think of the 1%, we think of billionaires. And we think we are not in the loop. Well, to be in the 1%, once you are making $35,000 a year, right, you are in the 1%. Once you are making about $35,000 a year, you are pretty much in the 1%. That is about 15 million or 12 million or 30 million naira or thereabout. You are automatically in the 1%. So a lot of people are in that 1%, but by their own limited understanding, they point fingers to the 1%. And so you are in the 1%. And when you look at your life with the little that you have, and you are in the 1%, you can now imagine how terrible it is for the remaining 99%, who don't even have your life, and they are the ones called the 99%. Now, the bigger idea is that in pre-COVID, the 1% and the 99% coexisted on a balance of power structure. It means the 99% could choose if they want to work for the 1% or not. They could choose how they want to relate, what their prices will be. They could choose how they want to express themselves. The 99% could negotiate with the 1% post-COVID. A plumber can choose to work for you or not work for you. He can choose to go work for something. If organizer can determine its own price and say if you cannot pay, that's it, and all of that. So the 99% could determine a lot. However, in post-COVID, there is no coexistence of the 99 and the 1%. Rather, there is a dependence of the 99% on the 1%. There is a dependence of the 99% on the 1%. I call it the Hunger Games Society. And I always recommend people should watch the movie Hunger Games if they want to have an idea of how life is going to be 30 years from now. But part of what I say is if you want to look at a business model for what I just described, I would choose Amazon again. Amazon is a perfect business model for what I've just described. Why? Because with the monopoly of Amazon, part of businesses, small businesses are buried under the business model of Amazon, right? They cannot find expression except they find room within the business model of Amazon, because Amazon pretty much is doing everything that anybody can do. It's into movies, it's into anything. Just think about it. You know, it's into, everybody pays Amazon. People don't know. Even Netflix pays Amazon, because Amazon is the landlord, through cloud computing, and all of that, and it's interesting to know that companies are giving millions of dollars to Amazon every month. I believe something is going to happen to Amazon. Maybe they are going to have to break the monopoly somehow. But part of what we must understand is that is how post-COVID is going to look like. You're going to find the 99% completely dependent. So small businesses, medium-sized businesses are either going to vanish, or they're going to find a compelling stake within the business model of some bigger organizations. So it's good to be very smart now and to say, answer some key questions. And part of the question that I always ask people to ask is, number one, what is too much now? What is too much? What are you doing that is too much right now? What is unnecessary? Because the unnecessary gives birth to the unnecessary. So you don't have to worry about unnecessary outcomes if you can focus on unnecessary investments. So, and unnecessary actions, then you automatically eliminate unnecessary actions. So the question is, what is unnecessary right now? What is too much? Where is too much? Am I overstaffed? Am I too much offline? The second question is, what is too little? What is too little? Am I too little online? Am I too fat offline? Am I too small offline? What is not gaining my rights in investment? What can I prioritize? What is powerful? That's the third question. What is powerful right now? The power right now is two things: technology and preference. I'm going to get to preference, but before I get to preference, let me list some industries that I think people should pay attention to. Vacation. The vacation space is going to be disrupted, very big, and that includes hospitality, that includes aviation, but the way to look at that is not to run away from it. It's not to now abandon the industry and say you want to go do something else. The way to look at that is to ask how you can play. Where is the money for you? 5 questions I always challenge people to ask right now. If you are in a disrupting industry, an industry that is being disrupted right now, that would be events management, for example, is being disrupted. The delivery space is being disrupted more than anything. Education is being disrupted massively. Security is being disrupted massively. The tech world, all of the apps that we were used to. Don't forget some simple concept. The reason why we don't hear of Kodak again is that Kodak was so loyal to what was working, they forgot it's going to change. Period. The reason why the Jews missed the Messiah was that they were so sure God gave them the Old Testament, and they were oppressed by that surety, and they invested too much of faith and loyalty in a fading quantity. And so they were so loyal to what was designed to fade. And so when the Messiah came, they missed it completely. We can't be so loyal to something and forget that it's going to change. Our loyalty to the core ideology must not change, but our loyalty to methods must be changing in response to changing times, to changing markets, to changing people. We must be changing. In fact, we must pause to disrupt ourselves every 90 days. I ask organizational leaders, every 90 days, we have to come together to say, what is too much that we are doing? What is too little that we are, we are misprioritizing? Is the power still the same? Is consumption taste still the same? What can we be doing differently? We have to disrupt ourselves so that we can remain as stakeholders. If we allow events and circumstances to disrupt us, we risk becoming victims, casualties, or slaves. Now, the unfortunate thing that Spencer Johnson did not capture in his book, what he did not capture is that you really can't birth change. I think it's one of the biggest errors in management thinking, the idea that we can birth change. You can't birth change. You can only discern change and align with change. And when we do that, we use a wrong word to say we are birthing change or we are leading change. Change in itself is a noiseless effect. I like to bring logic into that. I said if 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4, both of them are equal to 4. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4. Automatically, 2 plus 2 and 2 multiplied by 2 are the same automatically because both equations are equal to 4. So if everybody in the world, even scientists, psychologists, philosophers, all agree, even faith people all agree that the only thing that does not change in the world is change in itself. The only thing that does not change in the world is change in itself. And we also know by scripture, for those of us who are faith people, that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and God also does not change. If change does not change and God does not change, then God is change. God is the entire embodiment of change in itself. And that's why Spencer Johnson and the management books are missing it, because they don't understand God yet. And in the definition of change, if the Lord tarries, that is going to come into the business school's curriculum to understand that change is controlled by God and is an invisible God. Therefore, association with Him is what can bring the discernment of change at its earliest point. So when I contact coronavirus now, if I contact it, God forbid, but if I contact it, no alarm will go forth and say, oh, you now have coronavirus. Yet what can kill the person has just entered him. If somebody contacts HIV now, his life has changed from that moment. It can die years down the line. But in the day that he contacted the HIV, it was noiseless effect. When virtue left Samson, the Bible said Samson stood up like before, because he was not aware that a destiny-sensitive withdrawal has occurred, and he wanted to respond like before, because the change was noiseless. When Saul was rejected as king of Israel, the crown was on his head for 16 more years. Nothing physical said he was out of the loop. He must have said to himself that Samuel must have gotten this 10 years after he said I've been rejected. I'm still king, because when change occurs, this is what they missed in Kodak. When change occurs, it is noiseless. It's terribly noiseless. And so we cannot birth something that we have not discerned. What we do is, when a woman is pregnant, she hears no sound. On the day of conception, she hears no sound. However, 3 months down the line, she begins to feel nauseous. She begins to feel like throwing up. Early morning signs begin to come in a trimester. Then her tummy begins to get big. That is how she knows she's pregnant. That's how the world will know she's pregnant. But on the day she conceived, on the day of conception, even she did not know she was pregnant. Nobody in the world knew she was pregnant on that day. But from that day, an entire new life has begun to grow inside of her. And that is how we must think about change. And this is also a time, therefore, to appreciate the gift of the Holy Ghost that is inside of us. Because what is governing the world is academics and education. Revelation is the next level, and Christians are the King Kong of that experience. But revelation comes not by study, but by a walking, talking relationship with the Holy Ghost. And so Christians need to begin to appreciate our relationship. This is our season. This is our advantage. This is the year, the decade of the underdogs. And we need to tap into our greatest resource, which is the walking, talking with relationship with the Holy Ghost, to design ideas before they hit the system. And so part of what we must do now is to organize from within. We have heard of wealth transfer. We have heard of, of the wealth of the Gentiles coming to the church. Listen, guys, what is happening now is Isaiah 60. The Bible says, no longer will the sun give you light, nor the moon give you light. It said, the Lord shall be your everlasting light. And the Bible also said that your gates shall be open continually, so that Gentiles may bring their wealth to you. What is that? That's online. Online is the only way your gates can be opened continually. Online is the only way you will not go to sleep. Where people 6 hours away in the time zone can buy from you. People in your time zone can buy from you. God is saying that the wealth of the Gentiles cannot come to the church except we take our position online. Because it is in online, churches must embrace. Look at Naira, for example, in Nigeria. The Naira is packing up on a daily basis. It no longer makes sense to continue to make money in Naira and to depend on the Naira to supply our value. It doesn't. We have to be able to earn across board and attract purchasing power from all over the world. So there's no reason why we should not be thinking, anybody talking anywhere now should be thinking about product development and partnership across the world. A structure that transcends borders, so that people in Jamaica can buy and give. People in America can buy and give. The influence of the word is by far stronger than its geography. Any attempt to limit a word to a geography is suicide. It's not tactical, it's unguarded. The greatest word messengers in the world did not keep their word in their geography. Norman Vincent Peale, Napoleon Hill, some of the best thinkers, John C. Maxwell, all of the big thinkers that we know, they ensured that their knowledge transcends the limits of geography. It is a deliberate attempt to begin to build systems and structures that are borderless and can attract purchasing power from all over the world and bring it to headquarters in Mombasa, headquarters in Nairobi, headquarters in Calabar, headquarters in Ibadan, headquarters in Lagos. This is how we must begin to think. Part of how this is going to work, for example, as I zero in into some sectors right now, is for us to begin to think, how do we reinvent this? In the education space, I can tell education, if you own a school, or you are part of a school, or you are in the education space, maybe until now you are just an administrator or a teacher, this is the time to wear your thinking cap. We now need different apps for online school. I've told people that what is going to happen is, in the same way we had only day students at a point, later the world was innovated, we had boarding schools. Now we are going to have day school, boarding school, online school, homeschooling. So there's going to be 4 types of knowledge dissemination to schools. There's going to be day schooling, there's going to be boarding schooling, there's going to be online school and homeschooling. Please, online school and homeschooling are not the same, right? They sound similar. If you are in the educational space, you need to get into that. Online school is what is happening strictly online between the teacher and the student. Homeschooling uses online to express its own curriculum to students online, right, at home. And that is how it's going to work. So if you are in the education space, gather young people together. If you are in the app development space, begin to develop apps right now. Begin to research apps right now. And note, this is not something that is new in the world. This is my school. My son is in school right now. I mean, every day, Monday to Friday, is in school, right? But it's not there. The moment COVID happened, they didn't even do it. It wasn't difficult. They just switched because the platform has been there. People already, the Jewish community in the United States, most of them school their kids at home already. Homeschooling is already at home. So I'm not even asking third worlders and Africans to think of something new. I'm saying just stretch your neck a bit to see what's going on in first world countries. And you have a model already to disrupt the academic space. If you don't act fast, let me tell you what's going to happen. Corona Schools is going to invest in that technology and you will be out of the loop again. This is the time for young people to come into space, embrace their mental weaponry, create stuff, And don't try to be the one to build the whole thing. Just sell it to Green Springs, sell it to Corona, sell it to the biggest school so that they just plug into it and it works. There's no credit in it coming in your name, right? Just pull the technology. These are not technologies that one person can own. Don't try to say you have intellectual property. There's nothing like that in this particular area. What you can do is to collaborate. They say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And I adjust that a bit, that when the going gets tough, the tough cannot just keep going because it can get lost. When the going gets tough, the tough seeks collaboration. Until collaboration, we must turn now. Gone are the days of Adawa Super. You know what I mean? So you want to move with a team, find like-minded kingdom thinkers who think like you know, and plug into that economy and begin to march as an army into the space. A people come. Before them, there was none. After them, there will be never. These guys are different. These guys will climb like men of war. They run like mighty men. These are the times where prophecies are being fulfilled in our very eyes, and we need to begin to move in that regard. Also, for those in real estate, you need to know that opportunities have shrunk. Therefore, cash flow is not going to be as available as before. Your space is already being disrupted. Don't be deceived. First of all, the Nigerian real estate market is overrated. First of all, because essentially houses Abuja is more expensive than the city of Manhattan in New York. You know, it's more expensive than Manhattan. And Manhattan is about the most expensive city in the world. Abuja is not recognized because once the Russians, the Arabians are not there buying that real estate, we know it's not a true economy. So a lot of that is money that has no direction and has to be put in a place to build. And so our market is already standing on one leg, right, in the real estate space. With this disruption, we need to think luxury more, right? Because there will always be power in the hand of the 1%. There will always be power in the hand of the 1% of the 1%. So you may want to think more about how to sell luxury, you know, to people with the capacity. And that means that no matter what you are doing now, create a luxury version of it. So create a luxury arm of it. Like Lexus is a luxury arm of Toyota, right? So what is it called? DSTV is a luxury premium arm of GoTV. Puke Milk is a premium arm of 3 Crowns. You see, 3 Crowns is for the masses. Peak Milk is for the elites. So you have to understand that. Break yourself, create options. At the beginning of this webinar, I spoke about having a stake in the options so that you can arrest the purchasing power of the market. Whether they buy from the masses or they focus on the rich, you are there to take purchasing power from them. So part of your thinking is create options and set up luxury version of what you are doing. If you are in the event management space as well, if you are in the event management space, trust me, the guy who is selling, see, in post-COVID, there's going to be an attack on the middle class. The middle class is going to vanish. The middle class is going to vanish. We're going to have the lower class and the upper class. That's all. The middle class in Nigeria and in Africa has been under siege for years, but now they are going to be extinct. And so in the new world post-COVID, is either you have or you don't have. It's the haves and the have-nots. So there's not going to be, before we had 3 levels of revenue experience. We had not enough REM, we have just enough REM, and then we have more than enough REM. In post-COVID, we're just going to have not enough and more than enough. Just enough is going to vanish. So if that is the case, you are going to have a critical mass, just a critical mass in the more than enough realm. So you need to pitch for that. So just adjust your business model a bit and begin to learn how a luxury product or a luxury service or a luxury idea will express itself in your space and begin to sell. So the big boys are still going to do their big weddings. That is the new place you need to focus on, right? And begin to switch there. Legal profession. If you are a lawyer, transcend the smallness of taking cases and going to court. You see, you can actually come together with about 50 lawyers. Just get like 15 to 20 lawyers, 50, 100 lawyers. Sign them up on your platform. Get like 5 or 6 senior advocates to come on that platform. Then build an app. And then in that app, give legal services like letter writing, like responding to a suit, like so amount hours of representation in court, and get all of the law firms around to come on that platform. It's not new. It's happening all over the world already. People are already getting into that bit. So what is happening is somebody pays you $30 a month, maybe 10K a month. Just imagine 10K a month from about 20,000 people or 100,000 people, or 5K a month or 2.5 a month. What that happens is, whether they have a case or not, they are paying you. But the day they need to write a letter to a company, you just attach them to a law firm that will write it for them. And all the law firms are in an ecosystem and they are making money. Wow. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, think community. Think community. Community thinking is the new market. I wish people can throw their industries to me so that I can speak to it. But while we are waiting for that, which one, sir? Accounting. So accounting is going to go completely offline. So we're going to speak less and less of auditing in the box that we know it. Well, everything we call online is going to be online. And let me tell you something. Somebody is going to be in America doing accounting work and auditing for a company in Nigeria. So understand that your company, because it's a generic skill, there's no disruption. Balance sheet is balance sheet till we die. Profit and loss is profit and loss till we die. The table of profit and loss will not become 3. The column will not become 3 tomorrow. It's profit and loss. It's income and expenditure till we die. So you can't disrupt the curriculum of accounting, but the method of assessing the service is being disrupted. And for you, your competition is not going to stretch beyond your local structure. You are going to have somebody doing accounting and doing books for a company in Lagos, and the company doing it is in Pakistan, and the company doing it is in London. So understand that. For those of you in the education space as well, for those of you in the event space, don't think of Nigeria as your market alone, right? Think of outside. Transportation. Uber is going to have its challenges initially after post-COVID, but beyond COVID is going to rise. So you don't have that problem. But this is what I would tell you. If you're in transportation, think about deliveries, supply chain. The movement of goods and services has never been where it is now. So think about that. Trucks, deliveries, even of food is going to get in there. What is there again? Agriculture is already on point. Biotechnology and biofarming is already on point. If you look at what companies like FarmCrowdy are doing, they're already doing that bio thing. However, part of that is also going to come back to how you do the business. Fashion. Let me challenge you, fashion. What you need to do more than anything is to build an app. Build an app that can make it easy to take measurement from anywhere without assessing the human body physically. So how do we take measurement? How do you take a measurement of someone in London when you are in Lagos? An app can do that. An app can do that. So you can take measurement. So sizing and measurement will be key, and then the movement of goods will be key. I think I need to put that there. I'm sure Pastor Nee has some other questions he wants to ask, and I still want to talk about preferences. But let me leave it the mic to Pastor Nee.
I want to shift a bit now because of time. How do you deal with a difficult person, especially when you're stuck with them during this lockdown?
sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't get that, sir.
Okay, so how do you deal with a difficult person, especially when you're stuck with them during this lockdown?
I hear you. I mean, that is so critical, guys. What Pastor Nee just asked is so critical, because now people are, even for some of the best homes in the world, right? You are not just used to the home as a war front. I mean, when you are coming home after work, you drop your swords at the gate, you drop your weapons at the gate, you are coming into a place of safety. But now your entire office has been moved to the house. You are dealing with vicious clients. You are dealing with tough competitors. You are dealing with, top adversaries, in the business world. But you are taking all of that call from the house. All the pressure you used to take in the office and leave in the office, all of them have now come home. So your capacity to, your tolerance energy is being tested. Your ability to compartmentalize, activities in your mind is being tested. So part of what is going to happen is you need to make a distinction now between what is happening and what is going on. And don't ever miss that. Make a distinction between what is happening and what is going on. What is going on is serious exchange. That is the world. What is happening is domestic, and that is in the home. And you have duty to the home, and you have to make that distinction. I tell men, this is the time to abandon your garment of ego and really be boy, not right now. So, because the house help cannot come. And this is the time to unlock your sense of empathy. So I'm doing dishes right now. Yesterday, what is it called? What's that device that we use to clean rugs and carpet? It just left my mind now. I cleaned the entire house yesterday. Cleaned everywhere. I had to do that. I do laundry now. So I think that what is important now is not to judge by your understanding, and I will respond to that statement to that question with one statement. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy. And so if you are in the house now and you are living with different people, staff members are struggling with working remotely, with working offline. There's a lot of frustration out there. You are getting used to new habits without your permission. So vacuum cleaner, that is it. Thank you very much. Everyone, find him at Nia Empoda. Find him. It's his show, and we are continuing. Somebody said he brought Dr. Miles Monroe to Ibadan. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Fantastic. So, Pastor Lee, over to you, sir.
Thank you, PK. You are blowing our mind as usual. So, we've been talking about how to ensure that you remain, in a vantage position post-COVID, and the importance of how to leverage technology at a time like this. Well, like you said, now technology is really the business right now, and then you now find content to push out, on that platform. So you were talking about different industries and how they need to reinvent, post-COVID. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. So thank you again, Pastor Lee. So the question people have been throwing is about different areas. Let me quickly zoom in into something very critical. The idea that we have shifted. So no matter what you do in your marketing, in your planning, in your business development, you have to understand that we have transcended the limits of customer satisfaction. We have totally transcended the limits of customer satisfaction. Please hold on. I'm going to come to the industries very soon. So don't start typing into that. I don't miss it. I will come in at the right time. So just hold on, right? So where we are now is we are now in the zone of what I call customer preference. Customer preference. And I'm going to break it down for you. So right now, as you are at home, you are forming new habits. They say it takes about 27 to 30 days to form a new habit. So the global lockdown is forming new habits for people, right? And people are not even aware that those habits are being formed for them. They are not even aware that they are forming those habits. So pretty much new habits are being formed without your permission. Now, when the lockdown is off, you are all going to try to get back to your normal life. you will just find out that you really don't want to anymore. You know, what is being impacted is your habit of thinking. Your habit of thinking. Just imagine that you have habits now, bad habits you are trying to defeat, and how you struggle to defeat those habits, and you have not been able to defeat them. Some of them have been living with you for 10 years, some for 40 years, some for 50 years. Now, don't think that by the end of this lockdown, which is already for some above 30 days, for some above 40 days, don't think you are just going to come out and return to your life. Some of the things you really used to do, all of a sudden are not going to interest you anymore. Some of them are not going to be as easy for you to do anymore because you have built a new habit, and you have built that habit, you have formed that habit without your knowledge. So the impact of that is even you are still learning about yourself. After the lockdown, you are going to go into a school, your own personal school, where you are going to begin to be introduced to you, as in you will be introduced to you. You now begin to know yourself fresh because you pick fresh taste, fresh style, new preferences. So one word to describe all of your new habits is preference. And preferences create prejudices. Preferences create prejudices. So it's because you say, before you can say, I don't like short people, before you can say, I don't date short people, you have to first of all say, I like tall people. Preference. When you say, I like tall people, preference, then in turn, your preferences are going to be converted to prejudices. So from I like tall guys, preference, to I cannot marry a short guy, prejudice. So what is happening now is that you are building preferences. You are building preferences. And the moment you gain independence of choice and you are able to move out, all of your preferences are going to be converted to prejudices. So part of what is happening is that once you come out, all of a sudden, you are going to prefer takeouts. Okay, in the United States, we'll call it takeouts. In Nigeria, for example, you call it takeaway. All of a sudden, you're not going to look forward to spending time, in a restaurant, sitting down there, because you formed a new habit. You're going to want to take it out. So there's so much that you have built into you now that you are not even aware of. You are going to begin to learn about yourself as you begin to move out into the public space, and the lockdown is out. Now, how does that work for a business? So for a business person or for an entrepreneur, for a small business, until now, how do you determine customer satisfaction? You have to wait for the customer to behave. It is the behavior of the customer, his response to what you have served, that will make you know if he's satisfied or not. Well, that's pre-COVID. In post-COVID, you can't wait for the customer because he will have been buying from somewhere else, because he has a new preference. So what you have to do is to rent a space in the head of your customers to predict their preference, because even the customer does not know his own preference now. So you are going to have to be able to predict his preference. I don't care what you do, whether you are a church or you are a hospital or you are selling bowls or you are making clothes or selling shoes or you are a musician. Consumption texture has changed. A new type of preference and a new type of prejudices have been built. Actually, a lockdown at any level is one of the greatest disruptions of all time. You see, the World War I and World War II were wars. But what changed the economics of the world after the wars was not because people were killed alone or because people died. No, it's also because in all those 5 years of war, in all those years of war, people developed new ways of thinking. That is why you had people they call baby boomers. That's why people born during the war were thinking in a particular way, and they could even compartmentalize their thinking. Wherever they are born, as long as they were born in the war, kids born in the Biafran war in Nigeria are thinking in a particular way. Also, kids being born in COVID now, in the years to come, are going to be the COVID kids. right? They are also going to be defined by a common sense of traits, by a common sense of style, by a common sense of preference, by a common sense of prejudices, right? So consumption has changed. So as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a career person, whatever you are doing, recognize that, for example, in your office, when you come back to work, trust me, some guy is going to tell you that, well, we know you used to travel to the Middle East for business to talk to our customers, but can't you have a video conference instead? Because during the lockdown, you were having video conferences and everything went fine. Nobody complained. And we saved money for travel, we saved money for hotel, we saved all the extra costs. So essentially, why do you need to travel? All of a sudden, some mothers are going to be insisting on working from home, right? HR managers are going to begin to make a case for people working from home. They're going to be saying stuff like, okay, so this lady worked from home all the time he was here. You know, why should we come to the office? We can save that space. We can be in a smaller place. We can save that cost. Maybe if you go home, you can make more money. So the company can cut some costs. Whatever we are paying for transportation, whatever we are paying for logistics, you know, can be cut down off the budget. The idea is newness has come. Newness has come. And nobody should take newness lightly, right? But also understand that newness is old happening to new people. Newness is old happening to new people. There's actually nothing new under the sun. But when an old concept is being experienced by a new generation, we call it new. So in every movement, what you call new is something old that is being expressed in a different format. So COVID is new, but the energy of COVID, the fear, the anxiety, the change happened after Second World War. It happened after the First World War. It happened on the different pandemics that we have seen across the globe and in human history. So whether we like it or not, while the shell that carried this change is COVID, COVID is not the change. COVID is not the change. COVID is just the container of the change. The content, the substance itself is not COVID. And you need to respect that. And part of the respect for that is to be able to now understand how to position yourself. Now, let me tell you this. I've been saying this for years, and I need to repeat it now. Stop pursuing dreams. Stop pursuing your dreams. Dreams are not designed to be pursued. In a permissive structure, for years, we could pursue dreams because the pace of arrival of dreams, the pace of the discernment of dreams, and the pace of the execution and implementation of dreams was slower. Over the years, it has gotten faster and faster as we had technology, as the internet came, as telecommunications was disrupted, as transportation was disrupted. Now with what we are experiencing now, we are in a borderless world. And so you cannot pursue your dreams, you position for your dreams. You don't pursue dreams, you position for your dreams. Words like hustle, my hustle, I'm doing my hustle, I'm moving, I want to go and pursue I'm going to go and run my hustle. You are not a hustler anymore. You are now in what I call strategic orchestrations. You are now in a higher realm of strategic foresighting. Goodness and mercy are not going to be before you to be pursued all the days of your life. Goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. It means your dreams are gravitating towards you. Your dreams are pursuing you. If you keep running after your dreams is running after you. It's lunacy. You are running from something that is running from you. So you are not supposed to pursue dreams. You position for your dreams. So that your dreams can meet you. You can strategize. ISIS did not pursue his dreams. ISIS, evil organization, terrible organization, wicked organization. But they achieved a lot of their dreams. But how did they achieve it? Not through hustle, not through jumping around, not through business cards, not through PowerPointing, not through doing presentations all over the place. They didn't have a blog, they didn't have podcasts. I'm not saying you don't have all of that. You must. But understand that most importantly, ISIS was on one spot. His masquerade was dancing on one spot. And the whole world was coming to dance to it where they were. So this is the time to set yourself on fire on one spot. so that the world can come and watch you burn, as they say. This is not the time to rave. This is the time to position. Positioning is superior to momentum now. Positioning is superior to momentum now. You need to position. And part of that positioning is to begin to adjust your business model and begin to adjust your legislations, policies, begin to adjust your rules that govern your business model, that govern your operations until now. And part of that, I have to be specific. So let me go to some of the questions being asked. Digital currency has come to stay. Somebody asked me about banking. Well, the banking world is not going to go, but digital currency is going to disrupt the banking world. Because of time, I cannot talk about the reality of one currency and one government, because those are sure experiences. Sure experiences. And this is the rehearsal for that. All that is happening now, the government on the back end, listen to this, don't miss this. The government on the back end is also earning the right to control your freedom. If the government tells you not to go out 5 months ago, there will be riots on the streets. You see? So this government, this reality now is forcing everybody to accept the control of government. But every time control exists, manipulation is parallel to it. So whether you like it or not, you can't have control without manipulation. And you cannot have manipulation without control. Right? So because the government is not in control of our freedom, there's also a lot of manipulation that's going to go along with that. Part of that also means that in the post-COVID world, we're going to have more government involvement in private sector activities until now. The perfect model for the system of government post-COVID is China. You are going to have freedom of democracy to an extent. You are going to have a pseudo version of freedom, a pseudo version of capitalism, but with government control. It will be communism, it will be socialism, but trust me, it will be capitalism, not democracy either. It will not have a name, but maybe they will give it a name at some point. But the name of this one is there's going to be a lot of control. So you have to be really compelling to get attention. Remember the movie, the documentary movie, The Men Who Built America. The Men Who Built America. That is a template of how individuals and the private sector can compel the government to negotiate with them through superior ideation. Superior ideation. So this is the time, and Christians, man, you are the one with the Holy Ghost. What $50 billion of research will do, a 1 hour in worship can reveal it to you tonight. So time has been compressed for you Christians, man. The Holy Ghost in your inside has shrunk budgets for you. The Holy Ghost on your inside has shrunk years of research for you. And so you can understand that placement. This is the time to lebro sakura sukaina kusakabaya. This is the time to speak in tongues and come into an imaginative zone and come into a creative zone where ideas, 15-year research of the cure to cancer can be given to you in 2 hours of worship, where the cure to HIV can be delivered to you, where the vaccine formula for COVID can be given to you in 5 minutes of worship. Academics rule the world. It handed over to education. Education is not academics. Academics is what you are taught. Education is what you teach yourself, pretty much. Education is the ability of the human spirit to experience its environment, to question it deep enough to find the options that exist in it, and to know the ones to embrace as a matter of supreme importance and urgency. I'll take it again. Education is the ability of the human spirit to experience its environment, to question it deep enough to find the options that exist in it, and to know the ones to embrace as a matter of supreme importance and urgency. Now, education is what built Microsoft. It didn't finish academics. Education is what built Facebook. They didn't finish academics. Education has taken over from academics. Education now hires academics. Education is what you are taught. Sorry, academics is what you are taught. Education is what you teach yourself. Revelation is what is given to you. It's not what you teach yourself. It's what is given to you. There is a non-human element that is involved in education. You see all of what you call artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is broken into 4 parts. There is the algorithm part, which everybody understands. There is the machine learning algorithms part, which the whole world understand. Then there is the human element. There is a new human element that controls those two, and that is bureaucracy, that is finance, that is resources, that is where planning of how to deploy it is and how to share it is coming from. But there is a non-human element to it, and that is where the spiritual realm is. That is where the devil is operating from, and that's where God is king of. Because God is not just the father of good people. God is the father of all spirits, all. Plus evil spirit, plus good spirit, all kinds of spirit. So the power available to you at this time is a revelation coming from heaven to disrupt even the things in the hand of the devil and the things in the hand of God's people. So never in human history have we had the opportunity ahead of us today, right? We are blessed to be living in this generation. We are in the best of times. This is the season of the underdog. And we have to come to that place of strength and recognize that our capacity is not in the war rooms. It's not in our brainstorming sessions. Our capacity is not in our strategy sessions. Our capacity now is in God's presence. And from that God's presence, we are going to begin to launch ideas. Please, don't go to God's presence to ask about Abraham. Don't go and ask about Isaac. Go to God's presence to ask about culture shaping initiatives. See, I don't know if you guys know, there is a program, a cartoon called G-Force. You know how they used to start it? This was 1990. You know how they started the cartoon? Welcome to 2020 and the world has changed. This is 2020 and the world has changed. 1990. When they were saying that. If you think 2020 is happenstance, you are making a mistake. 2020 is strategic in the clock of life. Human beings are driving a visible agenda. God is driving an invisible agenda, but being downloaded into human beings to take positions in this season. So never forget that. Today, the ideas that will control your market is within your control. It's not going to come to you because of what you will do or because of what you do. It's going to come to you in spite of what you do. These are not the time to earn ideas. Ideas are being bestowed on his children that are positioned to manage kingdom finance. Coca-Cola is not popular because it is fine. Coca-Cola is popular because of the investment that goes into its popularity, the money put into its advertisement. Jesus is not as popular because those who fund Coca-Cola spend more money than those who fund Jesus. The Bible says, my city shall once again spread through prosperity. The prosperity coming to you today is not an ordinary prosperity to make you comfortable. No, your comfort is no longer the priority. Kingdom expansion is the priority. The money into your hands is for the advancement of God's kingdom. The day you understand that, your enlargement begins. He said, you don't have because you don't ask. Then he said, those of you who ask, you ask for the wrong motives, spending it on yourself. When you make the kingdom your priority, when you make the kingdom your agenda, and you know your finance is to expand the borders and the walls of our kingdom, you cannot play second fiddle to any business. God cannot own your business and you are the second best business. You will lead your market. You will be the industry leader. You will be the premier business in your space. But these are the foundational thinking that must drive your career and drive your understanding at this time. These are not the times you give what you can afford. These are the times you give what you are instructed to do. A kingdom idea today is not in ownership. Ownership must be eliminated. Stewardship must come into being. For what do you have that you did not receive? If indeed you receive it, why do you act as if you did not? These are the times to unlock your cap as a custodian of resources. When you begin to position at that level, you begin to see ideas coming to you, kings coming to the brightness of your rising, with their golds and silver, all the rams of Nebaioth and the ships of Tarshish, and all of those things are coming to your location. You are not looking for them, they are looking for you. That's the new idea. And so, digital currency, some of you are going to be positioned in that place. Somebody asked about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has come to stay. Trust me. Blockchain has come to stay. There's no fighting blockchain. There's no war against blockchain. There's no resistance to blockchain. You must celebrate what is going on, learn about it, know how it is working. In fact, some of you may need to launch your own currency. Some of you may need to launch your own currency. The church can launch a currency, right? So you need to begin to understand, these are the times to gather your research team together and let them give you 3-step way forward to take a space in digital currency. See, there's a land grab going on. There's a land grab going on. When you build, be careful how you build. Build your own platforms now. You can use Facebook to drive attention to your platform. Don't build your platform on Facebook. That is like building a house on rented land, right? Building your own house on rented land. Your land now is your land. If you put on Facebook, Facebook can shut you down overnight. That's the reality. They can shut your account down overnight for reasons best known to them. So you need to outgrow that and begin to control your own territory. Let me speak to the app development space. Look, I was watching a church last week, and the church, the entire choir was singing in the church, the entire choir. I said, oh, why are they singing? Then I realized that they were not singing in the church. They were all singing from their homes. All of them wore the same t-shirt from their homes, and they were all singing from their homes, and it was being beamed live. So we can still have 200 people singing at the same time and being beamed live in church. I said, yes. So one guy who is the head of IT in the church was talking to me, and he was saying, I saw it. It was awesome. I said, man. He said, data is a problem. I said, it's not about data. It's app. It's about app. That's nothing great. Just find the app they used to do that, and you can repeat it tomorrow, next Sunday. You can repeat it in your church. It is not just enough. The word is not enough to sustain value online. Experience, it what sustains value online, of which the word is only a part of. I've told those who care to listen, we need more content online than services for churches. We need more content online than services. We need to stretch. Services are great. We will preach, we will teach, but we also need to guys, you need to get creative. I'm very sure it's not the pastor of that church that came up with that idea. It must be some guy in the choir who thought we can do that. Don't leave things for pastors to do now. Let every department rise up to the plate. Think about how your work can find expression online. Document it in a 2-page, submit to pastor, and see how we can go forward. This is the time to maximize the authority that has been given to us. So, app development, start thinking about difficulties in human lifestyle. Let me teach you this. The way to build apps is to first conceive the purpose. Purpose precedes design. To make a case for it is now more critical, right? Because when you know what a problem is, a problem you cannot describe is not real. You need to describe and articulate the problem. So the moment you can articulate the problem, then ask yourself, can it solve this problem? What can we design that can make this problem solvable in a transferable way, such that it transcends the limit of geography? It can solve a problem, bring speed, efficiency, and comfort. So whatever brings speed, efficiency, and comfort is superior technology. So don't underrate, there's nothing that cannot become an app. There can be an app that tells you how you see, or if you are seeing well. I mean, there's nothing that cannot become an app. So for those of you in the programming space, think apps now more than ever. Just think apps. Don't tell me I don't have a sponsor. You don't have anything to do then. God will not put your miracle beyond your reach. Neither will He put it in the hand of your adversary. So you just need to calm down, respect the weight of your idea, pass it as a real problem, create the solution blueprint around it, and put it out there. It is really as simple as that. Now, let me quickly return to is there any copywriting? Copywriting will remain. There's little we can do about that because, listen, let me tell you, there's no artificial intelligence that can replace human contribution. It's not possible. So don't miss that. The remote behavior of man can be taken over by technology, but the innovative behavior of man cannot be arrested by technology. So anything innovative, creative. Now, let me describe the difference between invention and innovation. Innovation is the ability of the human mind really to improve a prevailing success. So whether it's a product or anything, if you improve it, that is what we call horizontal expansion, horizontal thinking. That means you move from one to infinity. You keep adding one to one, and like that. But there is also vertical thinking, which is moving from nothing to something. Innovation is moving from something to something higher, moving from something to something better, moving from something better to something best, and then disrupting the best and moving to something better than the best. That is innovation. But invention is moving from nothing. That is the energy that created the world, right? Creating something out of nothing. That is 0 to 1. That's vertical thinking, right? That was what was in operation at the Tower of Babel, right? When they were trying to build up to heaven. God appreciated it. God loved it. He gave them the capacity, but they were acting against instruction. The instruction was not for them to show God their genius by doing what has not been done before. God said, expand, fill the earth, multiply. And they were getting that wrong. Instead of multiplying, they were going on one spot. It's the same thing at the Act of Apostles, when God said, you shall receive power when the Holy Ghost shall come upon you, and you shall be my witnesses in Judea, Jerusalem, and the remotest part of the earth. The apostles got it wrong, and they were going on one spot, right? They were becoming 3,000, 5,000 on one spot. In fact, they became so powerful that some people said they didn't want to join them. I mean, they were afraid to join them. The level of signs and wonders that was supposed to be beheld by the world was being beheld in Jerusalem alone. It was too powerful for them seeing it. So they even became awed, too reverential to even join them, right? So what happened? The same way the Tower of Babel was scattered with diversity of language, persecution came to scatter it, and then they were forced to spread. The gospel did not spread strategically. It was spreading as the apostles were running from persecution and preaching everywhere they were. COVID is another interruption, right? To shift us into the final mode that we have to be, which is the technology-supported evangelism, to drive the word of God to corners unimaginable until now. Now, that is not only true for the church. It's true for all ideas. It's true for all thoughts, for all thinking. We have to be horizontal. God is asking for horizontal expansion, horizontal advancement, right? Horizontal thinking, horizontal development, where we begin to stretch like never before and begin to expand like never before. So that is how it's going to work. And all of this is impacting. Technology impacts directly on our ability to scale, otherwise called transferability or scalability. So if you really want to scale, if you really want to go around the world, apps will be the antidote. Technology will be the antidote. I don't know if there are other questions about industries for us to begin to look at.
Security.
Yeah, security. So we already see all that is happening in the cyber space and all that is happening with cyber security. there's something called dark web, which I think a lot of people should go and research. There's something called dark web.
Talking about like private security, people who own security firms that provide security for maybe organizations,
yes,
for their fixed properties and all that.
Yes, yes, and then again, because there's going to be a lot of interaction online. For example, Zoom. Zoom lost about 500,000 accounts on the dark web last week, I was told. So people are stealing properties online and selling it for cheap in the dark web. In the dark web, you can sell a human head and get away with it. I mean, anything can be sold there. If you open your laptop on the dark web, in 2 minutes, everything on your dark web is everything on your laptop is copied. I mean, it's not a place you should go. There is a search platform, a search engine called, I just forgot about it now. Is it Tor? I've forgotten the name. I think it's Tor, that people use to browse safely on the dark web. So don't even go there. All I'm saying is we now need security is going to boom because people need to protect credentials online. People need to protect a lot of stuff online. As we are moving ideas online, it's also going to be an exposure online. There are hackers that are waiting for you to begin to take money online so that they can divert activity on your site to their own site and collect all the money. People want to hack and begin to collect the money of the products you are selling online. So as we are coming online, let us also begin to invest in security online, in malware security, security against phishing, and all of those. And in doing that, because people can hijack your entire account, your website can be completely hijacked from you. I mean, if organizations like the Democratic Party in the United States can be hijacked and hacked, I mean, who are we? So we have a lot of work to do to think about that. So if you're in the security space, cyber security space, this is your time as well. It's just going to get better and better. So position, see what is going on in the world, reproduce them in your space, and begin to move. Physically as well, security is going to get more and more. We already see the restlessness. We pray and we hope that this lockdown will not continue for a long time. Otherwise, how long will this continue before people hit the streets? It's only a matter of time. We pray and we hope that we're not going to get there. So those are realities. I want to touch as many industries as possible. Again, let me give an hint, because at times we depend too much on knowledge dissemination when a lot's already available right there on your computer and in your phone. A lot of your questions, if you dare to Google it, you'll be stunned at what will come at you. If you dare to Google a lot of your questions, you'll be stunned to see what will come at you. So let us begin to think about that very, very strongly. Let's begin to think about that very strongly. Let me say this. No matter what you do, domicile your income beyond your geography. Domicile your income beyond your geography. National sovereignty has never seen the attack that is going on now and that is ahead. And so you cannot, like I said before, continue to earn on one income. Try to see how the Americans can give you money. How can the French give you money? How can you collect money from Johannesburg? How can you collect money from London? How can you collect money from Mombasa or Dakar? Because when you spread yourself and position to collect money globally, problem in location A can be comforted by income in location B. So the reason why people die in the geography is because their economy is mono. You need to be able to stretch your value. And this is also a test of your value. I was talking to a pastor friend yesterday, and I told him that, look, I need to work with you for the next 1 month, because your message is very deep, but nobody can understand it in the United States. You are just talking to yourself. Your message is too peculiar to your people. It is completely strange. It's not a universal, you are not speaking a universal language, you see? So the language of the world today is not English. It's not English, right? It's attention. So you want to be able to get attention before you can be heard. And to do that, you need to speak in a particular way. I'm not talking about phonetics. I'm not talking about your tongue. I'm not talking about what's the word? It keeps leaving me. Accent. Yes, I'm not talking about accent at all. Idahosa never spoke anybody's accent, but the whole world was listening to him. So it's not by your accent, it's by the quality and the texture of what you are saying. And that needs to be very, very important. So let us be universal in our approach. The reason why Amala cannot go global is because Amala fails the test of recognizability and it fails the test of transferability. No matter what your idea is, once it's not recognizable and it is not transferable, then it's not usable. So you need to understand that an unusable idea cannot be rewarded. So you want to ask yourself, is my instrument, my product, my service, my good, is it passing the test of universality? Is it global? Is it something that an American can appreciate and invest in at contact? You know, can they recognize it at contact? The way you package, the way we use words are very important. You don't have to know that you are now online. Online is all the computers in the world on one spot. Anybody can see you. Anybody can see you. I've received calls from places my legs can never get to, but online can get to. There are people listening to us right now. I saw Hey Miss T here. She's not in Nigeria. She's not in Nigeria. She's an American. She didn't meet me in my physical program. She met me online. And she's with me and we talk and she follows me and she does and she participates. She's here right now. As I went online, she was the first to come online, the first person to come online. And there are so many people following me across the world who surely don't speak my language, who know I'm an American. They can see my accent is not American, but essentially the communication is universal. So no matter what you are doing, have a universal positioning, have a universal presentation. You must ask yourself, this thing I am saying, or this thing I am selling, or this thing I am pushing, can the American plug it into his own lifestyle and it will fit? Can the French plug it into his own lifestyle and it will fit? Can the British plug it into their lifestyle and it will fit? So once it fails that test, it has no traction. That means it must pass the test of recognizability. It must pass the ketchup. It's not spaghetti and macaroni. They are not British delicacies. They are not American delicacies. They are not African delicacies. They are Italian delicacies. But the Italians packaged it in a universal way such that it is recognizable, it is transferable, and therefore usable, and therefore rewardable. So if you miss those concepts in the articulation of your value, you will be like the one who is winking in the dark. You are doing so much, but nobody is aware. You are sweating on one spot, but you are not moving. Momentum is not movement, and movement is not progress. You can be in a lot of momentum and be on one spot. You are sweating, you are dissipating energy, but you are not moving. Movement is not momentum. So you can have motion and not have movement. But even if you begin to move, you have to move in the right direction. You have to move in the right direction. So progress is motion plus movement in the right direction. So it's not enough to come online. Now, let me also warn, there are so many people who have been online before COVID, and you are now arrogant. You are saying stuff like, we are the ones who've been online before now. We've been online before now. You are most endangered. Let me tell you why you are endangered. Because until now, there are people with more talents than you, people with more capacity than you, who were so comfortable in their offline success, they didn't prioritize online. Now, all of those guys have now come online. The mind share is now stronger because those guys may now cast lights on you that all this while you are a one-eyed king in the land of the blind. So don't get comfortable. Go and service your engine, refire your capacity, be sure you are on point, you are universal, put yourself in the space and do the needful. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. We're moving towards the end of our conversation. I wanted to ask this also, that many are battling with boredom. I mean, yeah, time is the unit of life, and everything you will ever have or you will ever achieve or become is a trade-off of time.
Correct, sir.
What's your advice on dealing with boredom and maximizing this time? Just general,
Yeah, boredom is not a problem. Boredom and laziness are not problems. They are symptoms. When you are bored or they say you are lazy, it's a symptom. Don't try to solve. It's like procrastination. Procrastination is not a problem. It's a symptom. There's something else going on that creates that boredom, that creates that procrastination. And that is what we need to treat, and I'm going to address it. You see, there's no such thing as laziness, as a matter of fact. Nobody's lazy in the world, because when you are lazy, it means you are a lazy bone. It means you cannot do anything. If you cannot study physics, but you can play soccer from morning till night, you are not lazy. It's a clash of priority. If you are a lazy person, you should not be able to play soccer. You cannot do anything. That's a lazy person. It means you are a lazy bone. Once you can do something very well all day, and you cannot do something as well, then it's not about laziness. It's a clash of priorities. Therefore, like we said, Pastor Lee, at the beginning, when we know better, we do better, right? What we need is clarity. See, when people commit suicide is not a problem. Suicide is the outcome of a problem. Suicide is a symptom in itself, so to say, because there's something that precedes suicide, which is hopelessness. When the human spirit does not have the capacity to photograph the next second and the many seconds after it, the next thing is suicide, right? But even hopelessness is preceded by cluelessness. When you are clueless, then you will be hopeless. You can't be hopeless without being clueless first. When you can no longer photograph the pictures of what is ahead, then you are ready for your frustration that will give birth to your hopelessness, that will create a depression, that will push you into suicide. So clarity is what is missing in people. When you are bored, it means you are in an interregnum. Don't see boredom as a challenge. See boredom as a signal. The fact that you are bored means you are in a restless state of interregnum. Let me explain what interregnum is. Interregnum is like when the king of the land is dead and the land is going on without the king. They are still trying to look for a new king. That is a period of interregnum. If the president of a nation is dead and there is no leader, even right now, the world is in an interregnum. This is an interregnum, right? So when you are in boredom is a state of interregnum. It is a critical point between where you have been and where you need to be, right? It's not something to get frustrated about. It's not to go into your environment. You have to get out of your environment and go into your environment to culture your next level inside out. When people are bored, they are looking for something outside in. They want to do something outside of them that will quench what is going on inside. No, your environment is not your problem when you are bored. Your environment is the problem. You need newness inside out. So you need clarity from within to come out. The same thing with laziness. You need something. So when you are bored, it's an instruction asking you to make adjustments. Boredom, pain, discomfort are all signals telling you to make adjustments, right? Don't take boredom as something ordinary or something mundane. Boredom, discomfort, pain, lack are all God's voices to you, telling you to make adjustments. Every time you feel those things, I don't care if it's marital pain, financial pain, emotional pain, physical pain. I don't care if it's any type of boredom or any type of indolence or apathy. Anytime you feel discomfort at any level, it is God's voice, is God's nudge directly from heaven asking you to make adjustment. You will need to make adjustment instantly. You will need to make adjustment instantly. And that is exactly where you are now. So when you are bored, you need to speak to someone who is a professional or somebody qualified, somebody who is experientially qualified, somebody who is spiritually qualified, who is professionally qualified. You need to talk to Pastor Lee, for example, and come into an audit, a self-audit of yourself. Because I tell you, there are three people you cannot help. You cannot help anyone who does not know that he has a problem. Then you cannot also help anyone who does not know that he needs help, because you can know you have a problem and think you can solve it. So it's not enough to know that you have a problem. You may have a problem that you actually don't have the capacity to solve. So you can't help anyone who doesn't know that he has a problem, one. You also cannot help anyone who may know that he has a problem but does not know that he needs help to solve it. But most importantly, you cannot help anyone that you think is part of your problem. Anybody that thinks you are part of their problem, you cannot help them. That I can assure you. So I tell people, don't have a problem with the knowledge people ahead of you. You need to calm down, because the moment you are having issues with the knowledge leaders ahead of you, or the professionals around you, or those who can give you counsel, you hinder yourself, because there's no way value can be extended to you when you are fundamentally in conflict with the capacity to advance you clarity at the issue. So that in itself is a crisis. So the way what you need to do, therefore, is to introspect more, is to go into yourself, reach out to your environment, but find people that are spiritually qualified, experientially qualified to guide you and to pace you. What you need, don't just jump out. Audit before you commit. In this season, don't just jump out. Audit before you commit. Don't underestimate that. Audit before you commit. Audit before you commit. Before you build systems, before you build ideas, before you build structures, before you come up with new ideas, before you begin to jump all around the city, wait and audit your systems and your structures. Audit before you commit. Don't assume. Assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. It's true, it's guessing. Don't guess. Don't assume. This is not a time to hope that you are correct. No. This is a time to know that you are correct. It's not enough to be hoping and just hope. Hope has inbuilt capacity to design your universe, because hope not converted to result on time. The Bible says it will wear you out. Hope deferred. Hope sustained without guided instruction. Hope sustained without direction will make you weary. Hope deferred make the heart sick. So what is doing the making? It is the hope itself that is doing the making. Hope deferred make. So the hope is making your heart sick because you are sustaining hope without independent variables of action. So don't forget that. Bring yourself back home. Audit before you commit. When you experience boredom in this season, in fact, take this season as a retreat. Take a second look at everything you were used to. Everything you were used to. Take a second look at them. Audit everything and ask yourself, are these things still relevant for the new life that we are inheriting now? Are they still critical? Even the people around you, they may be too much. There may be, some people are unnecessary. This is the time to guard your heart and your time. Be selective about who qualifies for the investment of your time and your energy. Be very selective now about who qualifies for the investment of your time and your energy. And I want to challenge you guys, don't listen to everybody now. There are voices that are designed to fade in this season. New voices are on the horizon. That is why I salute people like Pastor Nini Eboda, because they are taking a stand and they are putting a new voice out. There are voices that until now people have thought maybe some of these things are for the future, maybe some of these things these people say, this man is saying are for the future. I will speak for somebody like Pastor Nini and his likes and his ilk out there. This is the time to plug into who you choose. Don't jump around seeking deliverance anywhere. It's just because of time. Maybe me and Pastor Lee will do another webinar for that. All of this drama, deliverance, going from mountain to mountain and trying to seek demons. Let me tell you something. The new instrument of heaven is clarity. Clarity is the instrument of heaven. The voices of change are no longer in drama, they are in principle. And God is sharing clarity with custodians of knowledge like this gentleman here. And you need to be selective now. I don't associate with anybody. I tell people, if you find me on any platform, if you find me on any platform with anybody, that person is an on-point person speaking to the culture. Otherwise, you cannot find me there. You've seen me on some webinars in this season, but what you don't know is I have turned down countless webinars. In fact, I have turned down opportunity to come on some webinars that I have accepted. The few you see me on are those that I can beat my chest as speaking to the now and to the future. Rally around them, follow what you can do. Follow Pastor Lee once we are done. These are the guys that are focusing on the right ideas and pushing the right reality. But trust me, when we know better, we do better. Clarity is the new search of change that we must experience. Plug into those ideas, submit yourself under God, plug into His presence, learn and learn and learn with His